Are you feeling a little stuck at your current level of business success? Maybe you've been here a while and you've been comfortable, or at least steady and consistent, but you're really wondering if it's time for you to shift things into gear. And what should you be thinking about as you're having this kind of internal conversation on your business? Because let's be honest, if you're asking yourself this question, you likely have had some level of success, which means you probably have a full plate. There are tons of things that are demanding your attention, and it can be a little overwhelming to know what to do first, or if you should be focusing on bigger picture items, bigger strategy on how to grow your business to its next level. Well, that's what we're talking about today, guys. My name is Leslie Hassler. I own Your Biz Rules Business Coaching, and I work with women-led service businesses to grow and scale in a way that's profitable and sustainable so that they can do great work, build a financial legacy, and have a greater impact in the community. And today's conversation's a real one. It's an honest one. I think it's also a really healthy conversation to be having. And it tells me a few things. If we're having this conversation, it means you've likely tried to grow your business before, but maybe you didn't get the results that you were looking for. Maybe it was too costly. Like it either cost too much money or too much time or too much of your energy and motivation. And so you really want to be sure. The first thing I always say is, there's no assureties in business. The only constant is its uncertainty. And so we can't ever be 100% sure, but I want to get you into the 80% range, the 75% range either. I want to get you feeling good enough. And there's a series of questions that I'll ask my clients when we're looking at this element and really thinking about how do we grow or scale in a way that's very smart and very not safe, but risk mitigated, less risky, if you will. How do we plan for all the things that we just don't know? So that whatever we do, whatever money we invest, whatever time and energy we invest, we're just ensured of a better result. And so here are the questions I want to talk to you about because I think they're really important. And the first question is really like, how are things in the business? Are they going well? Can you bring clients in the door? Do you have enough clients in the door to be profitable? Do you have some systems in place? Do you have some team in place? Like, how would you rate yourself in those categories? And if I give you categories, let me see if I can do this off the top of the head. I would say score yourself 1 to 10, my favorite little scale, 1 to 10, and the ability to get service, deliver to clients. Scale of 1 to 10 in team and support. Do you have the support that you need? A scale of 1 to 10 in systems and technology and process. Those are the things that help make us more productive. Also helps us bring on more team. Where's your leadership skills? Where are your entrepreneurial skills? Every next level of growth requires a next level of you, of me. Believe me, I go through it myself in my own business. But really take a good look and just see how well things are going. What I hope to see is that there's a lot going well. You're not perfect by any means. You may have a deficit in any one category or maybe even 2 categories, but that's okay. We want to know that you're not trying to go to the next level to solve massive problems that are foundational in the business. If that is the case, I'll say, yeah, maybe you need to fix those first, because growth won't fix profitability. It just doesn't. For most service-based businesses, you cannot make up in volume whatever you're losing in margin. And so profitability is something that has to be fixed on the front end. Profitability and cash, that's always where we start with every client, no matter how high they rank, because it's just so crucial, and growth won't fix it if it's broken. Which kind of leads us to our next question to ask yourself is truly, and that's my favorite question in the world, if I were to come into your business and just say I have all the power and the magic in the world, and I walked over and I was going to flip a switch, and when I flip this switch, your business is going to triple instantly. Boom, don't you wish? So I flipped the switch. What breaks? So on one hand, we were looking at like what is going on well in the business. Now we're overemphasizing if growth is messy and it's stressful, and even scalability is to a certain extent, but if that's going to be the nature, what are we going to break in the business? What would just stop working? Because this is a really good indicator of maybe some of the preparatory things that we need to do in order to be able to grow and scale. So look at what's good, and then look at what might be not so good if you tripled everything you were doing today. So that's two ways to look at it. The next part that I'm going to say is, how you feeling? What are you thinking? What is your intuition saying? If you were to close your eyes and envision this next level of success, whatever it is for your business, but you envisioned it, does it excite you? Or does it scare you? Now, here's this funny thing. I think if it doesn't scare you, you likely aren't thinking big enough. There's a certain tension that is created by being a little scared. I don't want you to be 80% scared and 20% excited. I would like at least a 50-50, 40-60 split. But for what I know that you're going to have to do to make things happen, you need that energy, that excitement, right? Should be really there. Now, oftentimes, it's very interesting to me because I'll talk to some business owners that on one hand say, I'm ready to take it to the next level of success. And then when we're talking about opportunities that might be on the floor, everything's too much work, too hard, already tried that, I can't risk this, like it's all negative. That is a good indicator that you might not be ready. You need a positive attitude. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the positive attitude, not Pollyanna, never, and not Chicken Little, but somewhere in between. You can be a realist. You can be somebody that sees how things really are. But I also want you to believe. And that's why we need the excitement. And that's why your gut or your intuition will tell you a lot. And if at this point in time you're saying, wow, Leslie, this was great. This is exactly what I needed to hear. I'm not ready. Ask yourself what is going to take for you to be ready. Because the truth in business is if you're not growing, you're kind of starting to die. If you're not improving, if you're not evolving as a business, you're likely going to start shrinking as a business. And that is incredibly frustrating place to be that I just don't want for you. So if I could give you anything, I would give you that. Smoothly. Okay, so we all want guarantees. Wouldn't that be great? If I had a magic wand that I could just, twirl and swirl above people, I would, because I want you to have those things that you want and desire and dream of. But if you think about it, growth and scalability is not about perfection. It'll never be perfect. You just don't have that much control. And you need so many different elements in order to make this work. That's where collaboration and community really come into play. But what I always say here is that first off, what we need to understand is growth is messy. If I haven't said it before, I will say it again. Growth won't fix your problems. It will only make them bigger, okay? Because growth is inefficient. It just is. What scalability is about efficiencies and maximization and getting the most, 10 timesing. It's where it's a little bit of a better return, but you need both elements in your business. You cannot do one without the other. And they're not time-based. They're not, because you're in a beginning business, you can only be here. Once you have those foundations taken care of, you can pop in and transition in between growth and scalability. And after a period of scalability, you likely will go into a period of growth, because that's just the nature. That's just the evolution of a small business. But what I want you to understand is there's things that you can do that make it smoother, right? We don't want to constrict. We want to allow the growth to come through the business, which is another story in and of itself. But we can mitigate. We can make plans. We can look forward enough to say, if it goes this way, I'll do this. If it's going to go that way, I'll do this. And if it goes way over here, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but at least this will tell me when I'm going down that road. And it's that forward thinking that really helps growth become smoother. It's also conversations like, so I have a couple of my clients right now that we have some pretty big growth goals for these businesses and this next year. And critical to both of those growth moves are people. Some hires, some evolving and up-leveling and training people into positions. It's not a simple beast. And so right now, hiring is such a huge issue for small businesses, especially small business owners that don't feel like they can compete on the dollars. Well, there's things that we can do, right? There's ways that we can make a small business attractive, and chances are your small business is more attractive than you think, but we can make plans. We can also go, as you look far ahead and you say, if I asked you if growth would triple your business tomorrow, what would break? If there wouldn't be enough team to do the work, that was one of your things. How do you know when you need to hire? You likely need to hire before you need the people, because you need an opportunity to onboard them and to train them and to get them up and running, because that just takes time. So these are the things we think about when we really think about how do we assure your success. There are no guarantees, but we can increase the likelihood. And you do that through preparation and just really critical thinking and strategy through that time. Let's see, what else? Oh, so if after all of this, you're still on the fence, it's time to talk to somebody. It's time to find a mentor, a friend, somebody who has done this before, somebody who has the experience to look at a situation objectively, understand what your goals are, and then ask you really critical questions that help you reach a decision on what you already know. 9 times out of 10, I find that people know whether or not they're ready to up level. It's all the uncertainties. If we ask them in the right questions, ask those people the right questions, we help them guide themselves to the right answer. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell you that you're ready or not. But what I can show you is where your opportunity is, how your business is ready, how we can take care of your risks and your fears, and what that might look like for you on the other side. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you're doing well. Again, this has been Leslie Hassler with Your Biz Rules. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to comment, be sure to share with somebody else. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, because we put these out every week. And until next week, guys, I hope you're doing well. May your week be profitable, and I'll be talking with you soon.